drive that is going to house all of the resources we use for this program, right? So the notes, from the notes, instead of messages, you can just there are emojis on your phone. You can just react like this. That would be better for it. So there will be a drive. That drive will house things like notes, data sets, assignments, and also the videos for each class, right? So I told you guys that the link will be dropped after today's class on the group, and it's going to be pinned at the top there. So after each class, if there's an assignment, you can go there. You just click on the link on Telegram to take you to the drive. You can download whatever you need, your assignments, your notes, your videos, and all of that. So I don't know if I'm making sense. Are we together?
Yes, we are.
All right. So we're kicking off. As you can see, I'm sure all of you have been notified that we started recording, right? So please, accordance, we need orderliness here. If you have a question, you can ask. Before you ask, you signify with your hands up. If you have something to say, you want to answer a question, just signify, then we'll go in that fashion. Are we set?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We are.
Yes.
When I say are we set, all these kind of questions, just react with this if you're okay and this if you're not. Can you see the emoji on your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are still sending this in the message. Like, all you need to do is, right, just click on this if you're in accordance, and this if you don't agree. Can you guys see the screen? Okay, so over the course of the program, we will be covering three tools, right? Excel, Power BI, and SQL. But before we dive into these tools, we didn't come here to learn Excel. We didn't come here to learn SQL. We didn't come here to learn Power BI. What did we come here to learn, class?
Data analysis.
Data analysis.
Data analysis.
Data analysis. Data analysis.
Data analysis.
Okay, thank you very much. We came here to learn data analysis, right? And all of these tools are a means to an end, right? If you don't know how to farm, if you don't know how to farm, even if they give you the most sophisticated tools, you will still be a failure at farming, right? So these tools are just a means to an end, right? So if you don't understand data analysis, then you can't dive into these tools. That's why today we're going to talk about data analysis. So that brings up the question, because if you know what data analysis is, or I would love to hear from like 5% what they understand by the term data analysis. You can raise up your hands, I'll pick. Okay, blessing.
Okay, is data analysis has to do with collection of data, analyzing the
Okay.
data, and finding a solution to a problem with regards to the data.
Okay. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. Let's hear from Inspire. Nola.
Good evening, sir.
Good
Data
evening.
analysis is actually the process that involves the cleaning of data, organizing the data, transforming the data, extracting insight from the data by interpreting it in order to make an informed decision and make future prediction.
Okay. Thank you very much. That is also fantastic as well. Okay, so let's hear from Beatrice Williams.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Data analysis, from our own understanding, simply means a process whereby he or she has to analyze the data, like for the sole aim of getting an answer to some pending questions for reasons why.
Okay. Um, I I can't hear you correctly. I can't hear you. I don't know if I'm the only one having the same issues. She was cut off midpoint. Am I the only one?
No, sir.
No,
She
no, no.
was
Yeah.
cut
Yes,
off.
sir, you're right.
Okay. All right. Let's also hear from on here Ella. Is it Onilia?
Yeah.
Ella.
Onion. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
onion.
Okay. Okay.
Data analysis is the collection, transformation, and organization of data in order to draw conclusions, make predictions, and drive informed decision making.
Okay. That is also fantastic as well. Okay. I need two more persons. So we'll hear from Doris. Opara.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Data
Yeah, good evening.
analysis is okay. Data analysis is turning raw data into meaningful information in order to make informed decisions.
Okay. Okay. And finally, statistical Lima.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Data analysis is the process of collecting, processing, analyzing, and making inference and conclusions of data.
Okay. That's you all are correct. Right? You all are correct. Okay. How about Chetachi Obiako?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, from my own end, what I understand, data analysis is the science of analyzing raw data in order to make conclusion about that information. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So you all are correct, but there's something the person before the last person said, inference. So who here understand what inference means, like the meaning of inference? So let's go with, sometimes there are some fancy words that might actually be something that is well known. Okay, Ola, you want to answer the question? Ola,
Yeah.
oh God, this is going to be a long class. I'm very sorry for the names.
Yeah, it's Shofala.
Okay, never
Okay.
pronounce it like that, though.
Okay, sir. Inference means conclusion on after findings, after observations and analyzing. So inference means what you conclude as a result of your findings.
Okay, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. So now, everybody here that gave an answer, absolutely correct. So let's look at it, right? So data analysis is a powerful process that transforms raw information into actionable insights by examining, cleaning, and modeling data, right? Analysts can uncover patterns, can identify trends, and support informed decision making across a wide range of industries. So basically, data analysis in um, the most basic form is gathering is the process of transforming raw data, right, into actionable insights, right? And this can be done through the cleaning, the analysis, the modeling, and the whole aim of all of these things is to uncover patterns and identify trends. These trends are what you can use to derive insights that are actionable to support decision. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
just
Yes,
sir.
thumbs
sir.
up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just you guys should react like with a thumbs up like this. Yes. You guys should just react with a thumbs up. I don't know if you guys are not seeing the reaction from my. Okay. So Duru, do you have a question? Chisholm, Deborah.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I can't see your screen. Your screen is not showing.
If you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up. If you can't, give me a thumbs down. No. Like you guys are sending it in the message. Like you can react. You know you can react, right? You can react. You get. I'm reacting. So those emojis on your screen, you can use to react. So anybody here that can't see my screen, I think you should refresh your network. Maybe refresh the Google Meet. I think it's network issue at your end because I think majority of the persons here can see my screen. I don't know if I'm correct. I don't know if I'm correct. Can we proceed? So, like I told you guys yesterday, Now, again, for clarity's sake, like there's an emoji here, right? There's an emoji here. You don't have to come here to react with a thumbs up, right? I don't know if it's from my end, but is this you can react like this, right? Once you click on it, it's going to react. So this will help me gauge. So you give me a thumbs up if you're okay. Give me like maybe flowers or claps, hand claps if you're finding it interesting or if you're impressed. If you're not happy, you can give a thumbs down, right? So we can gauge. I'm guessing going forward, more and more people will be joining the classes, and if everybody is writing messages in here, it's going to be something else. Are we together? So that's how I usually react and communicate with people in my class. So there are some questions, some hands are up. So yeah, Shalom, please. I have a question. Shalom. All right, so let's continue. So now, data analysis it's a field, it's an occupation that can slot in any other field, right? It can be maybe sports analysis, it can be business analysis or business intelligence, it can be a um, a medical research analyst, it can be a risk assessment analyst, it can be an HR analyst, so the opportunities and the possibilities are endless, right? So once you understand data analysis, you can move into literally any field in existence and you provide value. Why? Because every field in existence produces data and they need somebody that can make sense of said data. Are we together? Are we together? I'm not getting any feedback from you guys. Oh. Are we together? Can I proceed? Can you guys hear me?
All together, yes.
Yeah. So if I ask, are we together? You can also
Yes,
give a thumbs up. You can give a thumbs up, right? So that's what I use to gauge if we're on the same track. You understand? Please, so that there'll be a communication between the back and forth. Because from experience, I know that's the best way we can have a really enjoyable class. Every 2 5 minutes, I will be asking you guys, are we together? I'm expecting a feedback so that I can proceed. If it's something I need to go back on, I will go back. If it's something I need to change, I will change. Right? So that's how it's going to be. There's going to be a dynamic back and forth. Are we good to go? Uh,
Yes.
All right. So now I would love to hear from a couple of you guys because this kind of classes I like engaging my students. So I know all of you here are interested in data analysis, but we want to hear from a couple of you guys what niche, what aspects of data analysis do you want to focus on? Like what industry would you love to work in and why? So let me hear from you guys, please. You can raise your hands and I'll pick a couple. Okay. Deborah Chisholm, let's hear from you.
Okay, sir. I want to focus on the healthcare sector because I have a background
Okay.
in healthcare. I'm a biomedical engineer, and
Wow.
there's a part of my course that deal with data, analyzing data, healthcare data. So I will want to
Yeah.
niche in that area.
Okay. Okay. That's really fantastic and that's really nice to hear. So thank you very much, Deborah. Chinansa, Maduo, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize a lot for
Sorry.
getting an vex. Yeah.
Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Good evening.
Okay. I would like to my specialty actually. I'm more passionate about the education sector, edtech in
Okay.
particular. I feel like
Wow.
the way data is managed around education and students in Nigeria is very, very bad. Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
my own focus in data analysis will actually be the education sector and using data to create better edtech products. So I think that's my
Okay.
focus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's also really lovely to hear. Okay. So how about Blessing? Let's hear from Blessing. Udo.
Okay, thank you. Good evening,
Yeah.
sir.
Good evening.
I would really love to venture into the research aspect, medical research, basically.
Yeah. Okay. That's also amazing. It's a really nice field. Although I don't like it because of the sheer workload, but it's also a very nice one. Okay. Statistical Lima.
good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Yes, I don't really have a niche yet because I'm a statistics student. So
Okay.
I've really learned a lot about the theoretical aspects.
Yeah.
So I don't think I need a niche for now since I'm a statistics student. So I would love to be engaged in everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's also cool. Thank you very much. Um, Esther Rice.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, I would like to focus on the fintech sector because I'm a finance student and I actually love calculating numbers and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. That's nice. That sector is bubbling. So I know there's money there. Okay, that's nice. Let me hear from two more persons, then we'll proceed. So Chetachi, let's hear from you.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir. I would
You're welcome.
actually like to venture into, let's just say, the manufacturing and production area because all through my life it has been production all through. I studied industrial chemistry, So I would actually learn. I don't really know anything about data analysis, but I believe after this section or after this whole program, I will do better. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And finally, let's hear from Beatrice Williams.
Okay, good evening, everybody, once more again. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I would like to focus on in the human resource part.
Okay.
I want to use data in human resource. I've actually worked in that capacity for some few years. So I would like to analyze things that concerns people in their workplaces and all the rest. So human resource.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. So again, all amazing. They are all amazing fields to work in. You know, once passion meets once passion meets preparation, the limitations are endless. Now, the reason why I asked you guys, because like I said, data analysis is very, 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 very broad. It's very broad, right? So once you understand the basics, the fundamentals, once you understand the fundamentals and you master them, and then you zone in your niche or on your niche, it's going to be really, really enjoyable. So in that light, you've understood what data analysis is. The next thing we have to understand is something called the data analysis life cycle, right? So this is a circle that every project, every job you partake in follows, right? So it starts from somewhere, it ends somewhere. Sometimes the circle is repeated depending on what you're trying to achieve. And once you understand this circle, data analysis becomes very easy because even though I'm be teaching you guys this circle today, it's something you use till the day you hang up your boots as a data analyst. So what are the circle? It's called the data analysis life cycle, and it comprises of this. Now, this might look, I'm pretty sure people that have been in the field, you guys must have seen something like this. It might not be exactly this, but it follows this similar path. Am I with you? Who has heard of this data analysis life cycle before? Okay. Um, Duro, I think your hands are up. No hands.
Okay, just that I'm not seeing your screen again.
Yeah, it's probably network on your end. Just refresh. Okay, you can. Okay. So can you guys see the screen? I need to be sure you guys can see the screen before I proceed because there's an information on the screen I would love you guys to take in.
I can see the screen, but I can't see it properly.
Is
I
it,
can see
is
the
it
screen.
too small?
It's not clear.
It's clear. It's
I
clear.
think
What
you
It's,
you
should
need
zoom
to
your
it's
do,
screen.
network.
what you need to do is
Just
zoom,
zoom in.
zoom your screen, zoom your screen. It's clear. Just zoom your screen. No, sir, not you, not you. Whoever that is saying that, to zoom their screen, sir, not you, sir, please, not you.
Okay.
Others should zoom their
Let me
screen.
also
All right, I've zoomed and I've been able to get it. Thank you.
let me zoom in a bit
You're
also
welcome.
for you guys. So maybe the ones with
Uh,
eyesight that are not like optimal, you know. So yes, so we have here on my own definition we have seven, right? We have seven of them. Sometimes it can appear as six, sometimes it can appear as eight. But if you look at it, the fundamental message we are trying to pass is the same. So we're going to kick off with the first one, right? The beginning of.
Sir, stop zooming.
No, are you referring to me? No,
Yes.
it's okay like this, right? So that people who wear glasses and their eyes are not properly are functioning okay, can also see. Right? That's why I zoomed in. So that it's going to don't leave anyone behind. So now let's kick off with the first one, which is if anybody has taken the Google's and Coursera's data analysis program, this first phase is called the acts, right? For me, I call it the define the objective. It's also the acts. Why? Because if you see under it, you need to clearly articulate the goals and questions. Ask questions. That's the data analysis aim to address. This crucial step, first step, ensures the analysis remains focused and relevant. Now, if you don't understand the problem you're trying to solve, can you solve the problem?
No, you can't.
You can't. So
No.
as a data analyst, you need to ask questions. Do not be shy. Ask, even if it's 10, 20, 30, 40 questions, you need to ask questions. Okay, so okay, fine. What are we trying to solve? Right? Are we trying to solve customer churning? Are we trying to solve employee attrition? Are we trying to do a risk assessment analysis? Are we trying to do this? Are we trying to do that? Are we trying to do that? We need to have a clear objective of what you're trying to do before anything, right? You need to make sure you've understood what you're trying to do. Not just that, you also need to understand what is expected of you as well. So you've understood the problem. You also need to understand what is expected, the expectation from you as a data analyst. Data is fact. Data is raw facts. The facts that you're working with factual information, you as data analyst, if you're working on assumptions, that's the problem. That doesn't sit right. You understand? So also need to act like the data. You have to be sure 100% what you're going to do. You have to be sure the problems you're trying to solve. You also have to be sure about deliverables expected of you. Do the company or do your stakeholders want a report? Do they want a live dashboard that they can use to monitor life changes in the company? Whatever is required of you. Do they want you to build a model to predict the future happenings of the company and all of that? So if you don't ask questions, you cannot know this information. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we are
Yes, sir.
together.
So,
Yes, sir.
We are together.
Yes, sir.
thank you very much. Please, when I ask, are we together, you can just react with the thumbs up emoji. I think I've reiterated on this multiple. Once you give me a thumbs up, it's going to show on my screen the amount of people that are giving thumbs up, so I will know we're in accordance. You understand? So let's answer some questions. So Taiwo, your hand is up. You have a question. Taiwo Omatala, your hand is up.
No, sir. No, sir.
All right. So once you've understood the problem, once you've understood the deliverables, what do you need next? Now you need to gather the data, right? You need to collect the data that is sufficient enough to solve the problem you're trying to solve, and also deliver the deliverables as well. So that is where the collect data comes into play. That is the second phase. So you can see that they are bouncing off each other. All are connected. If you miss any step, the whole thing collapses. Especially, you see this? If you miss this step, you're in a lot of trouble. But we get there. So number two, we need to collect data. Right? You can gather the data from various sources. It could be the company database. It could be through a survey, customer survey, and sensors. Right? By the end of the day, ensure the data you're collecting is comprehensive and representative of the problem at hand. What does that mean? It is good enough and quality enough to solve the problem you're trying to solve. Any questions? Do you have any question? I'm not getting any feedback from you guys. I don't know if it's from me. Are you guys reacting?
We actually reacting. Maybe it's from you.
We are reacting, sir.
You're clicking on the emojis.
Very well,
Yes,
sir.
we are.
Why am I not seeing it? Okay, you guys should give me 1 second. Let me just refresh my network. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
No, sir, we can't hear you.
Yes, sir, we can hear
We
you.
can hear you,
I
sir.
can hear you, sir.
Can hear you.
Okay. I need a few of you guys to try and react. Let me see if it's possible to, if I can see the reactions. Okay. All right. So, Tayo, would you have a question? Omotola.
No, sir, I'm reacting.
Okay. You're raising your hand, right? That's if you want to ask or answer a question. But if you want to react, there's an emoji there that you can use. So let's continue. So you need to collect this data that is sufficient enough and good enough to solve the problems you're trying to solve. Once that is done, the next thing we can do is, now that we've gathered set data, we've understood the problems, we've gathered the data that is good enough and comprehensive enough to solve the problem, we then proceed to clean our data, right? So this is the prepare phase. This is where we prepare our data for analysis. Like if you're in the theater, if you're whatever you're doing, if you want to prepare food, even though you've gone to the market, you've gotten the sufficient ingredients, when you get back home, you have to clean it, right? You have to clean the data. You have to clean those ingredients you're trying to use for your analysis. So the same thing applies here. When you gather your data, no matter where you get it from, always inspect that data to make sure it is clean. Right? So you have to clean and transform the data. You have to address issues like missing values, duplicates, and inconsistencies. Right? Once you go through your data, you check, okay, fine, are there missing values? Are there duplicates here? Are there inconsistencies? You will check, you correct all of those little errors. Because once your data is cured, once your data has a problem, your data isn't clean enough, your output is going to be wrong. And once your output is wrong, the amount of things that can go bad, right? The amount of things that can go bad is limitless. So to be on the safer side, you need to make sure all of your data is cleaned, is sanitized, is transformed, right, to its optimal position. So after that, we have the data transformation. Right? So these are basically practices you can do you can convert your data into suitable formats for analysis. This may include normalization, aggregation, and encoding. So it's just basically setting up, now that your data is clean, you have to set it up in a structure that is the best way to aid the analysis. Let me show you guys an example of where I encountered an issue like this. Let me show you guys an example. Let me see. Although most of you will not understand because this is SQL, but you guys should get the point. So now, right, I will show you how this kind of code to solve two problems became this. These two codes here, this and this, were used to solve the same problem. Let me show you what the problem is. Now, this was a sports data set, right? So we wanted to find out the total goals scored, right? You can see a query to calculate the total number of goals across all countries and years. So the total goals scored in the history of AFCON, we wanted to find out. And also here, we wanted to know the goals per country. But because the data was in it was in a wide format. Because the data was in a wide format, we had to do this. We had to do this for it to work. But all I did, I employed an on-pivoting technique, which falls under data normalization. I had to unpivot the data to convert it from a wide format to a long format. And all I needed to use to write the code was this. So this code you're seeing here worked on the same, you can see from your table, right? This code you're seeing here is the same, gave us the same output as this. The only difference is that I transformed my data from one shape to another for effective analysis. So that is where this data transformation is really, really important. If you have any questions, you can ask. Any questions? Okay. Blessing.
So please, can you recap? I didn't really get that phase of data transformation. Thank you.
So now it's basically converting the data, right, into a suitable format for analysis. That's just transforming, it's changing it from one state to another, right, which may include normalization, aggregation, encoding, all of these terms. As you progress into the journey, you will know what all of these things mean, right? You will know what they mean. So it's basically converting the data from one set or one type to another. Now, in Excel, or any other field, when you're analyzing the data, it is better to have your data in a long format. In a long format. Let me show you what a long format and a wide format is. Let me see if I can open something here. So now, look at this. Look at this, right? So you see this thing here, this data here, and this data here. Are they the same thing?
Yes, sir, they are. They are
This
the
data
same.
here,
Yes,
this
they
data
are.
here. What is the difference between this structure and this structure?
I think one is wide and one is long.
Yeah,
This
one
is
Yes,
has
this
more
is
one
columns.
is
One has
One is
one is
long, the other is wide.
One is in the
Yeah, thank you very much.
horizontal more version of it, and the other one is in the vertical version of it. So one is
Yeah.
longer, one
So
is
this
wider.
so this is a wide data set. Basically has more rows, more columns than rows, right? But this is is the same data. Look at it. Birthday cake for India is $4.3 million. I come here, and this is birthday cake for India. It's 4.3 million. And you see, it's the exact same data. But you can see here, there are more rows here and less columns. So when this data here was unpivoted to be like this. So it's the same thing I did. So now let's say if I want to check now, if I want to calculate the sum of like the total revenue generated, if I come here and I say equal to sum, click equal to sum, I'll have to do this. Let's see if it's going to work. It works, right? It works. You can see that you can see where I'm working with. But now, if I want to find out the total sum, what I need to do is we got this should be 70 or 702 million here. Let me convert it to currency. 702 million here. So if I come here and I do the same thing, I go equal to sum. You can see that now I'm only working with one column rather than 5 or 6 there. If I press enter, you can see it. I still got the same answer, 702 million here. So the same thing applies when you're working with data. Always good to set it up in a long format rather than a wide. Are we together? So Esther Paul.
Okay. So I want to ask about this collection of data.
Yeah.
Are we the one to turn this data into like a tabular form, like when we have to collect this data, is it going to be in like a normal, like say, text form, like in a like this article format, or is it going to be in a tabular format like this? Are we the ones to transform it to tabular format, or is it going to be in a text format and then we'll start imputing the figures on both in the SQL or Excel or any form?
Data can come in any data can come in any shape. Let me see if I can find. There was a time I extracted WhatsApp chats for analysis, and I think that was the worst state of data I've worked with in my life. There was no structure at all. My laptop crashed a couple of weeks ago. I would have showed you guys an example of it. There was no structure at all. It was just there like a book. You understand? There was no rows, no columns. Everything was just everywhere. But it is your job as a data analyst to clean and structure the data into a format you can analyze and work with. Do you understand? It is your job
Yes, I
as a data
understand.
analyst. Yeah. So the data can come in any way. It's not every time you get data in a table or in a spreadsheet in rows and columns. Sometimes they will come in like in notes. And from there, that's where you will know that the job is not easy. You have to start thinking outside the box. You have to start thinking outside the box for that. So that's it for that, right? So that's where cleaning and transformation comes in. Then finally we have the EDA, which is the exploratory data analysis. So this is where the analysis happens. But before the analysis could happen, we're sure of our objective, we've gathered the sufficient data, we've cleaned and prepared the data, we've transformed it to the best shape possible to aid our analysis. Now we've analyzed, we can start analyzing the data. So this can be done using statistical techniques and visualization tools to explore the data. We can use that to understand the trends, we can understand the structure, we can identify patterns, or anomalies. Are we together? So you can see how
Can you repeat, please?
I said the fifth phase of the life cycle is the analysis phase. Now, what happens there? You can use statistical techniques. You can use visualization tools, right, to explore the data, to understand to understand what the data is trying to say, right? Some people are complaining about not being able to join the class. So let me see if I can stream with YouTube. Let me see if I can stream with YouTube. 1 minute, please. One minute. I'm really sorry. A lot of people can't join in because the 100 cap has. So let me see if I can quickly do something to help the people that are out here, please, so that let me see if it's possible to cast this. Okay, Taiwo, you can ask a question while I'm trying to troubleshoot this issue as we continue. Taiwo, do you have a question? No, we'll get to number 6. We'll get to number 6. Well, let's. Idris, you have a question? You can ask while I try to see if I can push this thing to YouTube.
Well, my question, good evening, everyone. My
Yeah, good
question,
evening.
just a suggestion. Maybe we can use Outlook for this meeting so that many people can join. Because I think they don't limit the numbers of people joining.
Yeah, they did, but I thought the premium package, because I pay for this version of Meet I'm using. I thought it could take more than 100. If I'm being honest, I've never had a class this big before, so and I'm pretty sure it could take more than 100%. I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's supposed to take more than 100. So I don't know if the premium you paid is for just the time to exceed an hour. But not to worry, let's just be patient because we are trying to resolve as let's say in 48 hours. So I think for our next class, it should be more than
Yeah.
1 hour. It should be more than 100 because by then we should have rectified that issue for TEFEM. So please let's just
Oh,
be patient with us. By Friday,
okay.
we should rectify that and be able to accommodate more than 100
Everyone.
as large as the class
Yes.
is here. Because I think data
Yeah.
analysis class is the largest
Yeah.
for this course. Yeah.
Yeah. If I had known it can't take more than 100, I would have looked for or tried to upgrade the plan for that.
But
But
it's fine, Sha. Provided we have the records, we'll just
yeah,
give them a
it's
grace
recording.
of today. Yes, the grace for
Yes,
today.
it's recording.
Yeah, for the
Because
attendance, since it's not really
yeah,
their fault. Yeah. All right.
yeah,
Thank
it's
you so much.
recording. All right.
Thank you.
Precious,
Yeah.
your aunts wanted to say something.
No. I was speaking already, so no need that. No one, man.
Okay, okay. So please, Miss Precious, just help me tell them there because I'm shuffling between here and YouTube and the Telegram that they should pardon today, but
All
going
right.
forward
Okay, that's fine.
from the next class, we're going to try different software probably Zoom or Meet or
No, no,
something. I can.
would use Meet. Would use Meet. By then we'll have the
Okay.
premium for the numbers.
Okay. So,
All right.
but
Thank you
they
so
have
much.
nothing to fear. Yeah, that it's being recorded, and they'll have access to it in, let's say, 1 to 2 hours after the class.
All right, that's fine.
And
Thank you.
yeah, all right. Thank you very much. So let's go back to this. So after the analysis, we have something called six, which is the interpretation and communication, right? This basically means now you've done your analysis, you've drawn conclusions, right? Now you need to communicate those conclusions. You've drawn your insights, but you need to communicate just like every relationship in life, be it your husband, your wives, your father, your mother, your friends, teachers. Communication is key. Again, the same thing is applicable to data analysis. You've drawn your conclusion for the analysis, and you have to communicate it effectively. And that can be done through reports, through dashboards, and through visualization. Now, let me show you what I mean by that. Let me show you an example again. So let me go to, let me open a project I worked on. Let me open a project I worked on, and let me show you how communication helps. So we have this, right? We have this. This is a dashboard I built in Excel, right? But this is the analysis. Let me scroll back out so you guys can see. So it's something like this. So I want to ask you guys, between this and this, what do you think is easier for somebody to understand?
Please recap,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Please
First one.
That's
come
good.
again, sir, please. Come again,
The
please.
first one.
The visual
All right.
is the
The
All right.
first
first
one.
one, actually.
I think it's more
All right.
understandable.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, like I said, okay, this is the data set, right? This is the data set. This this is the analysis, right? The same the same thing you're seeing here is the same thing that is represented here. So between this, if you are to present something to your shareholder, would you present this or would you present this, and why?
I will present the first one.
First
First
one.
one, please, sir.
The first one is
The
more
first one is
comprehensive,
more
sir.
The first
than this one. I beg.
I'll present the second
Okay.
one.
Second
The
one.
second one. The
The
second
second
one.
one was it gives proper
Second one, I
representation
think.
and analysis of the data.
Welcome
First
to
one
you.
is can understand data, and this second one.
So I'll
Thank you
go
very
with
much.
More
your
comprehensible.
first one.
I'll present the second one.
All right. So thank you very much for that. Yes. The second one, the second one is what you will use to present. Why? Because it is simplified, right? It is making the analysis, it is making our findings very easy to understand. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes,
No,
sir. Yes,
Yes.
sir.
sir. No, sir.
All right.
Yes,
All
please.
right. So you can see how communication is very important. Okay? So that we'll be able to simplify this.
Yeah, not clear, sir.
We are not hearing you, sir.
Information
So you're glitching, you know.
given and represented dynamics, right?
We can't hear you still,
We
sir.
can't hear you, sir.
No, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, sir.
Your
We
voice
can't
is
hear you,
not
sir.
audible, sir.
Right? Very easy to thank you.
Not clear, sir.
We can't hear you, sir. We can't hear you.
We can't
We
hear
can't
you,
hear
sir.
Can you guys hear me now? How
Yes,
about now?
yes, yes. It's
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
it's
Yes,
better.
yes, yes. Can hear now.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that is what the sixth phase of data analysis is. Converting this to this. That is it. So do you guys have any questions before I talk about the final step? Any questions?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, after you've done everything, like the data cleaning, the transformation, and all, so when you're about to come up with the visualization, how were you able to have the idea that this is how I'm going to visualize it? How do you know that this is the chart I'm supposed to use for this visualize for this report, and this is what I'm supposed to do? Like the correlation coefficients you inputted up there. How did you come about it? Like how did you do it?
Fantastic question, right? Fantastic question. Now, again, nobody here is Aladdin, right? Nobody here has a magical lamp that they can blow and make wishes, right? All of these things come with time. All of these things come with experience. And the only way to gain experience is by practice and research, right? So it's going to be difficult at first. I'm going to be frank with you guys. But by the time you continue doing it over and over again, you will get the better hang of it. But before that, I myself am going to show you and I'm going to tell you guys when we get to something like this. Because if the time permits, we might work on a mini project at the end. So we'll try to convert something like this. We'll try to convert something like this to something like this, right? A mini project, we'll talk about a little bit of data visualization and the tricks and the tools you can use to help you out. So don't worry about that. Before the end of the 3 months, you would have a better understanding on what to do and when to do it.
All right, sir.
All
Thank
right,
you,
sir.
sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Tayo, do you have a question?
Thank you.
Okay, how about you, Favor? Any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask similar question to what she asked. My question is in presenting data, like the slides you showed us, where we have something like bar charts and then plain where numbers were inputted, a lot of them. I wanted to ask if we are the ones to decide how to present the data, or the person we are working for can decide, or do we have the liberty to present it anyhow we want?
No. Now, your question, the question is asked. The answer to it is yes and no, right? No, it being that you don't design a dashboard or a report based on your preference, right? You always need to communicate with your stakeholders. Who are your stakeholders? Your stakeholders are people that are investing in you. They're the people you answer to, i.e., can be your IT manager, it can be your HRO, it can be your HOD in your department, it can be the CEO of the company. Those are your stakeholders. You don't go around building dashboard because this looks cute or this looks good. Always ask them first, right? If your company has, let me see if I can open my Power BI. If your company has a color scheme, you can use that as a theme for your dashboard. If you're working for MTN, you cannot go and start building dashboard. You cannot start building dashboard with green and white. Right? That's conflict of interest already. So this is the answer to yes. You have no. Please mute your mic. Your discussion of who is that? So now that's the answer to no, you can't do anything you want or anything you like. The second answer, which is yes, is that you yourself, you're the technical one, you must know what to use to visualize, right? You must know what to use to visualize. You must know when to use a chart, you must know when to use a bar chart, a column chart, a matrix, and all of that. You must know how to design the dashboard, right? But you're designing the dashboard, you're not designing the dashboard to cater to your needs, rather the needs of your stakeholders. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yes, I understand.
All right. So, Raphael Benedicta, do you have a question?
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
So my question is centered around interpretation,
Yes.
insight, because I know that it's not all about building a fancy dashboard and all that. How? Because I've been into it, and then what I find difficult is having to interpret my data or draw insights from it. So, how do we go around it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So, again, another interesting question. The drawing of insights, the ability to draw correct insights, is something that is developed as well. It's not taught. I can show you how to do it. Right? But before you can master it, you need to practice, you need to practice, and you need to practice. Now, again, you will have a taste, you have a feel on how to draw insights as you progress, right? Through these 3 months. But once you get the insight, you'll be given tips on what to do to aid your ability to draw insight from your analysis. Like you said, again, it's not about dashboards. It's not about dashboards, but at the end of the day, this thing you're showing, are you trying the problem you were given, that task you were assigned, is this thing you're showing here solving the problem? Is this solving the problem? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. So that's it. Let me take one more question and we'll proceed. Favor, your hand is up. She's around. I don't know if you're still interested in asking the question because your hand has been up for a while.
No, I think that was the previous one I raised. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. So now, the question that the first person asked about dashboard, baking design, and all of this, this was a challenge, right, on Twitter. The question, they said, okay, fine. These new governments, they've been reckless spending, and they've been this, they've been that, and they've not been good accountability. So they threw out the challenge, right, to all the data community guys. I hope you guys have started following us, like the facilitators and TEFEM. We can engage. I'm very active on Twitter, right? You can see my works, you can ask questions, you can comment, and I know you guys will get to gain lots more by going through my page. You will see links to videos, links to resources, data sets, roadmaps, a lot of things on that page, especially on Twitter. So I'll employ you guys to please go to Telegram and follow that account. You guys will gain a lot more, even when you're not in class. Are we together? So the challenge, they said, okay, fine, they needed the people in the data space to build a dashboard. What was the aim of the dashboard? To provide transparency on how the money is being spent. That was the tax given, right? And it's FAAC allocation across states and local governments in Nigeria. So in my head, I know, okay, fine. First things first, I'm going to use green and white. Why? Because it's a Nigerian listing products I'm working with. I'm going to use maybe red and yellow and green. That'll probably be affiliated with something like Ghana to build a dashboard that is used, that will be used by Nigerians, that is showing trends of Nigerian expenses. I don't know if you guys understand.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Yes.
So that was the thought process that was in my head when I decided to build this. right? It's a very simple dashboard, very simple dashboard, but it's highly informative. It's telling the story, very interactive as well. You get. So you don't need to overcomplicate. Looking at this, you will know. Looking at this, you already know that. Okay, fine. When Tinubu went into power, he shut up. Look at 2023 seat allocation. He moved from 3.16 trillion to 3.9 trillion, and just because this was till June, I be May, June, and just by June alone, we're already at 2.16 trillion. So that means before the year runs out, if the data is updated to this dashboard, I'm pretty sure we're going to eclipse this 3.9 trillion from last year. We'll be hitting around 4 trillion. And you can see it just by looking at this. You can also see the growth, the year-over-year growth. You can see that from here it grew. You can see the growth. You can see the growth over time, right? So that's just how it is. At the end of the day, that's what is just a tool to an end. It's aiding you to communicate, to provide, to explain your insights. Do you have any questions? All right. So let's move on to the final. Let's move on to the final slide, which at the end of the day, so again, I'm going to give like a recap. So after defining the objective, you've understood the problem statements and the requirements, you've gathered the data, you've cleaned it, you've transformed it, you've analyzed it, you've interpreted your findings. The last thing is you submit your findings to your stakeholders for them to make decisions, right? So using the insights gained from the analysis to inform business strategies, scientific research, policy making, and other decision making. So after you've done all of this from 1 to 6, it's now left for them to apply what you found out. You give them advices on what to do. It's called data-driven decision making. You give them advices on what to do. Now you're giving them the factual backing of whatever decision they're about to make. Now, okay, fine. In the past, if you people that have done this, this is what happened. People that have done this, this is what happened. So this is what I found out. This is what I'm giving to you. It's now left for you to apply it into the business. Are we together? So this is what the analysis life cycle is, right? Now, you guys will get the slide. You guys will also get the notes as well. You guys also get the notes as well. So don't worry about that. So this is what the data analysis life cycle is. So what is the next thing we need to talk about? We need to branch down into Excel a bit for the next, say, 20 minutes. There's a reason why we're kicking off with Excel, then Power BI, then SQL, and it's the reason why we're about to talk about. So now, Excel, right? Excel. Why Excel? Why Excel? Can anybody here tell me why we advise you guys to kick off with Excel? Ask any data analyst, any seasoned data analyst. I would love to delve into the world of data. What tool should I pick up first? 99.99% of them will tell you start with Excel. The 0.001 that tells you any other thing apart from Excel does not know what he's doing, he or she is doing. You know. So I would love to hear from you guys. Why do you think that is the case?
Good evening, everyone.
No, hold on,
My name
please.
is
Hold on, hold
Priscilla.
on, hold on, please. A lot of hands are up. I'm going to drop everybody's hands. Then the first 5 persons that raise their hands can answer. Okay, okay. So, okay, let me not ignore the Priscilla that does. Let me know. So, Priscilla, you can kick off. Then, 4 other persons, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, why I think Excel is the application that is main application for data analysis is because it's structured in a way whereby you can easily put in data. It has the rows and columns for you to analyze, and also has a lot of tools for sum, for subtraction, and all that. So it's like it's meant for you to analyze data, makes it very easy to analyze. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You're correct. Esther Paul, let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, I just feel that Excel is one thing most people are quite familiar with when it comes to
Okay.
like a lot of most people are very familiar with Excel. And
Yeah,
also Excel contains like a lot of basics when it comes to data analysis. It contains the sum, the visualization. It's something that everybody can actually grasp easily.
yeah.
That's what I have to just say about it.
Okay, that also is correct, right? That also is correct. Now, let's hear from two more persons. So, Raisa Idris.
Yes, thank you for the question. I think Excel is easy to use for many people, even the ones who are beginning. But
Yeah,
I think SQL, it's really hard, and you need to have like some basics to be able to use them to clean and or transform data. And the second thing is it can transform really raw or big data into short ones. Yeah, that's I think that's the main thing I can say about Excel.
okay, that's also very correct. So let's hear from Statistical Lima.
All right, thank you, sir. I think Excel is very easy for to represent the visualization of the data, and also it is applicable to those that is not in the field of using data. So it can be used to present some, let me say, some data presentation, like using, let me say, using graph and diagrams. Yes, it can be used easily.
Okay, that's also correct. Then finally, let's hear from Ogumola Oluwatobi. She there? Is Oluwatobi there? All right, let's hear from Favor then. Favor, she's around.
Okay, I think Excel is more easier to make use of, like compared to other tools. It's quite easier to navigate through Excel. Okay, I think that's just my own opinion.
We can't hear you,
Sir,
sir.
your voice is not audible. We can't hear you.
A wider
It's still clear, sir.
everybody is carried along. Now, let's talk the first thing intuitive interface, right? Intuitive interface. So now you can see, like you guys said, Excel's familiar spreadsheet layout and point and click functionality make it an accessible tool for users of all skill levels. It's user friendly and it enables efficient data manipulation and analysis. Everybody here, at least the vast majority of persons here, I will be surprised if nobody here has seen Excel or at least interacted with Excel at some point in their life. So it is something that is very, very available for everybody to use, right? It's there, people have used it, so it's not like you jumping into an unknown. For example, SQL or Python, you have to have some level of technical nuance to be able to navigate, and even at that, extremely difficult. Point and click in Excel, you see most of the time you're pointing and you're clicking. So you can say, let me go through. Here's Excel. Okay, this is an analysis here. If I check this, you can see here, you just click and drag, click and drag. There are no functions here. I show you something like Power BI. Let me come here. You can see, although there are still click and drags, Or you will see something like, I go to like that here. I come here and I show you this. You start writing some codes. Although you write functions in Excel, right? You write function in Excel. If I come here and I show you something like this, can you see? Can you see? Start writing some functions and formulas, and it gets progressively worse. You will now move from something like this to say something like, yes, SQL, yes, SQL. I have a lot of things open. You will now see something like this. So can you see that Excel is easier to use compared to other tools? Right? You can see. So that's why one of the reasons why we advise you guys to go with that. The secondly is Excel powerful functions, right? In as much as Excel is easy to use, it is highly effective. Most analysis, you don't even need other tools. Excel can handle it very well. From simple aggregation all the way to advanced multiple linear regression, building predictive modeling, forecasting. Excel can handle all of these things with functions embedded in it. So it boasts a vast array of built-in functions and formula from basic to advanced statistical analysis, right? This versatility allows users to perform complex calculations and uncover insights. Excel for literally all the aspects of
We can't hear you, sir.
We can hear you. We can
We can't
hear you,
hear
sir.
you.
We can.
Right? So Excel has charts and graphs embedded in them that you can use to visualize, you can use to analyze your data sets. And finally, we have something called automation with macros. What are macros? Macros is an Excel attribute that helps you to automate repetitive tasks, right? And you can use that by either recording those macros or writing custom VBAs. But this will not be covered in this program because this is like advanced Excel, and the time won't be enough to cover all of this. But from here up until here, will be covered in this program. Do you have any question? I can see Beatrice, your hand is up, and Rachel. So let's start with you, Beatrice. Beatrice.
Okay, good evening once more, sir. Sir, good evening. Sorry, I was trying to tap the button, not
All right, good evening.
responding. Can you hear me, sir?
Good evening. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
Okay, the question I want to ask is this. Well, without those macros, we can still go ahead with our analysis with Excel, right?
Yeah, the whole point of macros, right, is just to automate some repetitive tasks.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with actual analysis. It has nothing to do with actual
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. So I don't know if does that answer your question, because I think there's a repetition, like whatever I say I can hear myself.
Yeah, you answered me correctly. I heard you before the
All right.
repetition occurred.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sir.
All right. Let me answer a few more questions. So what about Chetachi Abia? The hand is down. Esther Paul.
Okay, so this is unrelated though, but I don't know if there's a way, is there a laptop specification for this data analysis?
Sorry, you're not audible enough. I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, I said, is there unrelated to is there a laptop specification
to this data analysis, all the software? Like, do you have a recommended laptop specifications for this?
All right. Yeah. I will give you guys. Don't worry. After the class, I'm going to drop a link to 2 YouTube videos, right? That will help
Perfect.
you guys install the Excel 2021. It's very easy to use. It's 8 minutes long. It's not really complex. You upgrade all of you that are not up to 20. If you're on 365, that's cool. But from 2021, because we work with XLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP doesn't work from 2019 downwards. It's a pretty new function. So we need 2021 and above. I will drop a link to the videos. I will drop also specifications of a laptop you're looking to get that would not put you in a lot of stress, because you see that Power BI that opened, see how long it took for it to open. That thing.
We can't hear
I
you.
can hear you, sir.
We can hear you, sir. Your voice is faint and cracking.
So we cannot hear you.
You guys can't
No,
hear
we
me?
can't hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. I've not been hearing you for a while now.
It's better now. But it's better now.
Explain now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
it's better
yes.
now.
Very clear. Yes, you're audible now. Thank you.
Very clear.
All right. So, okay, thank you very much. So, like I was saying, if you're using a Mac, just forget about it. Either if you have enough money, if you're a rich kid, you can just go and buy another laptop, right? If you know you want to take this data analysis serious and you have a Mac, just sell it and use that money and go and buy a very good Windows laptop, because you cannot enjoy the field. Excel won't work properly. Power BI won't work properly. Microsoft SQL Server won't work properly unless you start using alternatives like maybe Tableau Public and Google Sheets instead of Excel, and you're using the inferior products. So if you want to venture into the world of data analysis, that MacBook is gone. Let me just give you a heads up now first, before anything. So if you want to go into, let's say, software engineering, UI, UX, fine, your MacBook is more than sufficient enough. But the data analysis field, you can't use a MacBook for it. So yes, let me answer to 2 more questions, then we'll try and see what we can do in the next 10-15 minutes. So Raisa, Idris, your hand is up.
Yes, I have a question. I would like to know if Excel is the more recommended tool to analyze data. Why do people recommend to know how to use SQL or Python? I would like to know the reason why those one the reason why we should use those tools also.
Okay, it's very simple, right? All of these tools have their strengths and weaknesses. For Excel is very easy to use. It is, as a data analyst, you use Excel 70% of the time. You use 70% of the time. It's very easy to use. Excel is also versatile. You can perform, clean, analyze, and visualize with Excel. And it's easy to learn. That's why I will tell you guys to start off with Excel. As for Power BI is a visualization tool, right? It's a visualization tool. Its strongest point is to visualize properly. Use it to build world-class visualizations for your reports, right? So if you want to be really good, you want to be very professional when you're in your workplace, you need to learn either Tableau or Power BI. But Power BI does not end there. Power BI can also be used to model data, as you can see here, which we'll talk about when we get to Power BI. It is used to model. You can build a data model here. Power BI can also be used for analysis as well, which we did here. But you can see some of the dark codes we wrote here. All of these things we are writing here, we are analyzing the data. You can also use Power BI. To transform and clean your data through the use of something called Power Query in Power BI. right? Then finally for SQL, you can't escape SQL. Even though you're a data analyst, even though you're a data scientist, even though you're a data engineer, it doesn't matter. You cannot miss SQL.
I can't hear you, sir.
SQL is the only language that relational databases can understand. If you're working with a company, you want to
I
pull
can't
out
hear you.
information.
Sorry, cannot hear you.
Is it breaking or is it reducing?
It was reducing, sir.
It is
How about now?
reducing. Fine.
How about now?
Clear.
Let me connect back to my earbuds. I think it's because I disconnected.
We can hear you now.
1 minute. Can you guys hear me?
Very well.
Yes.
Clear enough.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, all right. I just connected back in. It was low. I just plugged it in. I didn't have lights my house the whole day. That was part of the reason why I wasn't able to meet up on time. I'm still not home. I had to move, pack my things, my laptop, monitor, everything somewhere. Yeah, so I'm at a friend's place as well.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that, sir.
yeah. Thank you. So SQL, like I said, is the only language that can access a relational database, an RDBMS, which is called a Relational Database Management System. Again, we get to understand all of this I'm saying when we get to SQL in the program. So for you to be able to access, build, because with SQL, with Excel and Power BI, you can't build a database, you can't manage a database. But with SQL, you can build a database, you can structure the database, you can manage that database, you can query and analyze the data from the database. SQL is the only tool, the only programming language on earth that can do that. So you cannot escape it. No matter the field you're in, as long as you're in the data hemisphere, you must learn SQL. So that's the reason why we tell you guys to pick up these tools. Did I answer your question? Good enough.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Then finally, let's just have one more question from Rachel Philip. Then we'll proceed to the remaining things we have for today.
Okay, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Yes, sir. You mentioned sending us a resource that can actually help us download 2021 version of Excel. So I was trying to understand, are we going to download it like online, or we are going to download it via this packed version that is usually used that they usually use a cassette or something to download for people, the packed version?
You're going to download straight from the internet, right? You're going to download straight from the internet, and all you need to do is just follow all of the instructions very well, and you won't have any problem.
All right,
You
thank
won't have
you.
any problems. Yeah. So let's proceed. So these are the reasons why. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend Google Sheets. I wouldn't recommend Google Sheets. Just get the real thing if you can. That would be best for you. So these are the reasons why we encourage you guys to use Excel. Now, let's see. I think I'm gonna have to skip. Okay, let's skip this. We'll come back to this in our next class. So now, here we have, these are some of the problems, right? These are the challenges that you guys will face when you're working with, or when you're trying to transition into the world of data analysis. And it's majorly, most of the time, it's threefold, right? You have the technical skills, analytical thinking, and the practical experience. Now, for the technical skills, you need to master programming languages, right? That might be SQL, might be Python, it might be R, right? You need to understand and master statistical concepts, right? But for now, what you need to learn is basic statistics, right? Again, I'm going to drop a link to a video in the Telegram group that you can watch to get you up to speed on basic statistical concepts for data analysis. You need to also learn how to handle data handling techniques. You understand? This can be significant hurdles for people that are new into the world of data analytics. But then again, like I've always said, I've been beating this drum since yesterday. Continuous learning and hands-on practices are the key to overcoming these challenges. That's the key. There's no two ways about it. If you don't work, you won't understand. The second one here is the analytical thinking, right? Somebody asked me earlier, okay, fine, these insights, these things we are trying to do, how do we know what to do? This is a question. This is a problem that will come. You can see developing critical thinking and problem solving skills is also essential for transforming raw data into meaningful insights, right? Again, this requires practice in identifying patterns, drawing conclusions, and communicating findings effectively. So the first time is going to be difficult, but the more you do it, the more you make more research, the more you explore, the better you become at it. And finally, practical experience. So that's basically gaining real-world experience through projects, internships, or collaborations. Can be challenging. I'm also suffering from it, especially here in Nigeria that don't really understand the importance of data. Having the opportunity to practice the skills you've gathered is a problem. So these are the three major problems you will face. We are going to help you with this, and with this. So you have nothing to worry about as long as you're matching the efforts of TEFEM. Are we together? Then finally, we're going to talk about the essentials, right? The essential data analytics skills. What are the major things you need? The person that asked me when to use which tool, you can see it's already here, right? It's broken down for you, right? So it's broken down into four. We have the programming, we have the statistical knowledge, we have the data visualization, and we have the data management. Now for programming, Python is one, R is another, SQL is the third. Now, Python and R are like for advanced data analysis. The big three you need to understand is Excel, a visualization tool, be it Tableau or Looker or Power BI, and a data management tool, which is SQL. It's only SQL. So those are the big three. These are the three tools that if you master, you can get a job as a data analyst. Over time, you can expand, you can pick up other tools like Python for machine learning, you can pick up R for more statistical analysis and research purposes. You get. But the big three is Excel, visualization tool, and SQL. Now for programming, like I said, we have Python, we have R, we have SQL. These are all crucial. The proficiency in these languages is crucial in data manipulation, analysis, and automation. Number two, statistical knowledge. Again, you need to understand statistical concepts and techniques. These are key in drawing meaningful insights from data. Sometimes you might need to, if you want to clean a data, you might need to check for outliers. If you're checking for outliers, if you don't know what an outlier is, you can't clean your data set properly. If that's where you're going to, you can check for the skewness of the data, you can check for the distribution of the data as well. That's why you need to use measure of central tendencies, your mean, median, and mode, measure of dispersion, the standard deviation, and the variance, right? You might need to say, okay, fine, what kind of data is this? Is it categorical? Is it numerical? Is it ordinal? You understand? So all of these things you need to learn basic statistics to understand. It's going to help you a lot. Then we have the data visualization. Again, we have Tableau, we have Power BI. Excel can slot into here. Excel can do some of these things as well. So you need to master tools like Tableau or Power BI, right? And also data visualization libraries in Python and R to be able to effectively communicate your insights. Then finally, database management. That's the Baba SQL. If you don't know SQL, you cannot work with the database. Straight up, like there's no alternative. For Excel, you have Google Sheets. For Python, you can use R. For Power BI, you can use Tableau. SQL, there's no alternative. It's SQL. You must know it. Familiarity with SQL databases and data storage solution is essential for data integration and querying. So these are the essential tools you will need to be successful for you to be a world-class data analyst. Again, these are the technical aspect of it. We also have something called the soft skills, which will unfold going forward. So at that end, we've gone to the end of today's class. So I'm going to take a few questions in the next 45 minutes, then we'll call it a day. So if you have any question, this is your chance to ask. Okay, so yeah, Beatrice.
Okay, good evening once more, sir. My question
good evening.
is,
Good evening.
these essential skills listed here, are they all compulsorily important? Like the programming aspect, can someone in analysis skip the programming aspect and probably maybe statistical knowledge, visualization, and the SQL alone? Is it possible to skip for a good analyst not to be a programmer? Thank you.
It's a very interesting question. It's very possible. I myself, I fall into this category. I know basic Python. I know basic SQL. I've worked with Python a little bit. I've worked with R a little bit. But for SQL, I know SQL very well. For Power BI, I know Power BI very well. I know statistics and I know Excel. Now you can skip this, right? Let's say in the first 1 to 2 years of your data analysis career, you can skip this Python and R, right? But the field is evolving. The line between data analysis and data science is becoming blurred by the day. So companies are requesting these tools more when they are hunting for data analysts. Without these tools, you can effectively perform your analysis 9.8 times out of 10 if it has nothing to do with building a machine learning model, right? That is now borderline data science. It's no longer data analysis, because data analysis is using the past to make decisions for the present, while science is basically using the past to make predictions for the future, right? But now that line of data science and data analysis is becoming less and less visible. They are merging. So for your sake, for you to be as relevant as possible, put yourself in the most, what's the word? Put yourself in the best position to secure a job, or at least to progress. Later down the line, when you've mastered the essentials, which is SQL, Excel, and the visualization tool, I would advise you pick up Python or R, depending on the aspects you're going towards. Are we together? Have I answered the question?
Yes, sir. You've answered the question. I actually have 2 questions to ask. I just wanted you to finish before I ask the next one. Please permit me to ask the next question, please.
Okay.
All right, sir. Is it possible for an analyst to just specialize on a particular visualization tool? Like, let's say you're just very much okay and comfortable with Power BI that you don't even want to waste extra time to see how Tableau works. Is it possible for someone to say, oh, I'm an analyst and I visualize only with Power BI? Must an analyst know every available tool for visualizing before he or she can be seen as a competent or a good analyst? Thank you, sir.
No. Again, it's not the tool that makes the man, it's the man that makes the tool. It's the man that makes the tool.
Okay.
Now, I myself, I fall in this category. I've used Tableau for times, but I decided to master Power BI.
Okay.
So Power BI is my go-to visualization tool. Now, again, it doesn't hurt to know more narration. variation.
Sorry,
It
can't
doesn't
hear
hurt
you.
to normal variation. You guys can't hear me. You guys can't hear me.
Like there is a
Is the repetition.
repetition.
Yes, sir. We
Please,
can hear you, sir.
just
The voice is breaking.
please, just
There is a background sound.
yeah. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
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 sir.
yes.
Yes, sir. You are very audible now. Yes, sir.
It's yeah. I think it's the beatrice. I think there's the reverb. It's repeating. So beatrice, please. When you want to
Yes,
talk,
I
you can
can hear
unmute.
you,
Or
sir.
before then, just keep it muted. So that's basically it. It doesn't hurt to know more than one visualization tool, but make sure you've mastered one. Make sure you've mastered
Okay.
one. Then you can pick up others along the way.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for the
So,
answer.
yeah. So let me take the questions from these three people quickly, then we'll call it a day. So Idris, Haneza, Raisa, your hand is up. I don't know if you have a question to ask.
Yes, sir. I would just like to ask if we are going to learn during this course about Tableau and Power BI.
Yes, the first month is for Excel, the second month will be for Power BI, the third month will be for SQL. So it's going to be pretty versed, right? So you have nothing to worry about. By the time you're done with the 3 months, you will be equipped enough for the job market. Statistical lemma.
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
All right, yes, sir.
I said
I hear you, sir.
I'm coming, I will come to you. Across the 3 months, you're going to learn Excel, Power BI, and SQL. So by the end of these 3 months, you'll be equipped enough to be a competent data analyst. So you have nothing to worry about. So yeah, statistical lemma. Statistical lemma, you're muted.
Okay, sir. So between Excel and SPSS, which one is more comprehensive? And what is the strength of SPSS compared to Excel?
SPSS is tilted towards more statistical analysis. Why Excel is like that's like the phrase jack of all trade, master of none. But Excel is not like it is bad. You can do everything to like a 7/10. Everything you throw at it, Excel can do to a 7/10. So Excel is more rounded, more polished. Why SPSS is tilted towards statistical analysis. So that's the difference. Excel can perform statistical analysis almost as good as SPSS, but SPSS cannot perform the things Excel can do, the loads of things Excel can do. Excel is deep. It's deep. So that's the difference. So if you're into data analysis, it's good. You can learn SPSS, but it's not a requirement. Excel is. So let me take the question from the last person, which is this Inga Bire or
Thank
Nella.
you,
That will be the last question for today.
So I would like to ask a question. Which
Yeah.
programming language should we learn? Like you said, the first one will be Excel, the second Power BI, and the third one SQL. Like, what about Python?
Yeah.
Like, and you said we
Again?
should master at least one of the programming languages. I didn't get you well.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the two major programming languages we use, because SQL is a programming language, but it's more of a query language than a programming language, in the sense that you can't build applications out of it, right? So the two major programming languages we have is Python and R. Python can do most, if not everything R can do. The difference is the same way Excel and SPSS is. The strength of R is towards statistical analysis and research. Why Python is much more robust and much more powerful. Python is the primary programming language used for AIs. Want to build an AI, want to build a machine learning model, want to perform forecasting analysis. So Python have a lot of libraries in it. It's much more robust than R. R is better towards statistical analysis. It all depends again your niche.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So now the links, you will get all of the links before the end of today, so you have nothing to worry about. So in that light, it's been an amazing about roughly 2 hours with you guys, and I appreciate the time and the efforts you guys are putting in. Please don't give up. So we've
I'm
come to the end of
sorry.
today's class.
Sorry, sir. Are we going to pay for the application Excel?
You're not paying for anything. Don't worry, you won't pay for anything. You won't pay for anything. So just watch the space. More information will be dropped for you guys. So in that case, I'm calling it a day. Thank you very much for your time. I really have to do something at 7 o'clock, but because I wasted 25 minutes, I have to jump off now to the second. I have a class by 7, and it's already 7:21. So I'm very sorry for cutting it abrupt, but thank you very much. On Thursday, we'll meet again. Sorry, on Friday is our next class. That is going to be from 5 to 7. 5 to 7. 5 to 7. I'm hoping before then, everybody here has gotten the Excel up to date. So in that light, thank you very much, and I'll see you Friday. Good night.
Thank
Good
you
night.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.